So without any delays, let's go ahead and get into this thing here. So had mentioned the whole quote-unquote Asia percent run thing for a little while here. And yeah, this is exactly that thing. Ignore the little visual jank that'll happen. Just because, you know, have block transfer effects turned off. Okay, so this guy's gonna be this guy's name is gonna be Ducks, because he's a lucky duck, I suppose. Again, ignore the visual jank. That's entirely my emulator's fault right now. Just to make everything run a little bit better. Yeah, this camera thing does have a little bit of lag to it, unfortunately. Such is life, I suppose. What day is it? It's a nice day in April, so let's go ahead and put that on there. Okay. Same old thing. I'm just going to go through with whatever answer happens to land in the middle. The idea with this run, since, like I said, it used to be the quote-unquote Asia percent run that I was going to do there. For whatever reason, every time that I tried to start that run, something came up. So this is now the luck percent run. Maybe now it'll actually happen. So yeah. The long and short of it is, I wanted to test just how far luck will go in this one. I've done luck-based builds a hell of a lot of times before, and it's gone very poorly pretty much every single time. So let's just see if we can make it through the game with this. I think it's possible. Like, it seems very realistic, because there's some pretty good stuff you can do with luck. But what prompted this was a discussion that came up over on the OV Discord over what exactly it is that luck even does. Because, well, here's the thing. Looking at a lot of stuff in vanilla, you could tell there's certain things that they deliberately, for lack of a better term, seem scared of. Like, for example, one of those things, if you look at Rune Fencers, it seems really, really weird just how many kind of nerfs they got. Like, they're a hybrid that kind of sucks at everything aside from being a support healer, despite the fact that they've been like a mainstay frontliner through the entire series. So it seemed really weird that they're like, hey, here's this caster character. They suck at casting. Like, here's you know, maybe if you augment a particular element or something like that. And then it's like, okay, they can't use any of the augmenting gear, at least not the vests that are easier to get. Like, it just seems really weird how they had a bunch of weird limitations put on them. But point being, luck seemed one of those things, because you could get a few little piecemeal bonuses here and there. Like, I believe when I was testing it last night, I think with an entire set, like if you got just a ton of luck boosting items and whatever else, you could put it up to, what was it? I think it was like plus 27 or something like that, which just still seemed really low. I'm not even sure if it's known what the exact numbers are in terms of how high or low it can go. But yeah, so it's unclear. Like, for example, in this mod, as far as the luck items go, you can get up to like 60 or so easily. And I've seen builds. I've seen some builds that I was testing, like especially during the 1 vs 18 thing, where they would just get parries constantly when there should be no chance for them to do so. So what they wind up with is a chance to just do automatically better, to just be lucky at pretty much everything, but overall their stats suffer. So whether or not that winds up being useful is, you know, up to whoever's playing. Personally, I found that the 3 classes I end up stacking it most on are going to be the same ones that I would have used in the Asia percent run, so why not? I'm actually just going to include 1 extra class in this run, just kind of for the hell of it. And we'll see how it goes. It might end up screwing up the run entirely. Might end up having to take maybe a quick trip through some optional fights or something. We'll see. I decided not to call it a speedrun, just because there's already enough laggy crap going on the stream there that I figured one more thing would probably break something. So we're just gonna do this kind of as is. We won't have a timer running. I'd assume it's probably gonna wind up around the same amount of time. But yeah, so the main classes we're gonna be using for this one: archers, ninjas, and swordmasters. I was gonna include warriors in there as well, just to kind of test how well they do the whole parry thing. I don't know. General rule I think I'm going to go by is just anybody that's out there has to have a luck bonus as soon as it's available. So the earliest ones are going to come from the second tier gloves. I don't believe regular leather give any luck bonus. From there, it's mostly sniping gloves, luck rings, and Eastern weapons that give you luck bonus. Well, specifically Eastern swords that give you luck bonuses, which can be good or bad depending on how you do it. Like personally, I think the standard like one-handed Eastern swords, I think they're better off in the hands of like a warrior or something like that. Just go sword and board with a luck bonus. There's the two-handers are pretty solid. Obviously, that's kind of their own thing. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. Pretty much just going to be exclusively using archers for the first chapter because of all that. Just because I want to get somewhere with them first. Like, ideally, I probably should do just warriors and archers early on, get like sword skills up and that kind of thing. But I think just stacking archers early should be fine. Like, up until mid-chapter 2, usually they can still do okay. It's after that that they start dropping off against heavier bosses and things like that, like to the point where they start doing maybe 10 damage per shot. And at that point it becomes a little bit tricky. So we'll see how well that goes. Yeah, they're taking much longer with Bapal this time. Good coffee. Good coffee. Yeah, if you've never tried it, by the way, instead of using just like creamer or just milk or whatever else in coffee, they have these like packaged up protein shakes that end up going on sale every now and then. Surprisingly good in coffee. And allegedly diet friendly, if that's your kind of thing. But oh well. Oh, and by the way, one more quick thing, because I was trying to figure out how to how to parse this with my new work schedule and stuff like that. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do Mondays and Fridays for Tactics Ogre stuff, and then Saturdays for X Division, and then just kind of like figure it out for anything else. Hello there, Evan. Yes, I do live. It's been a very hectic last week. It's been nuts. Let's put it that way. It's been nuts. But yeah, so this is that Asia % run, which has been renamed to the Luck % run, because I want to see just how far we can get using crit builds. Because, well, it's known that they seem to affect crit rate and things like that, but I have a feeling that luck actually affects secondary rolls on everything. Like, you know how with parry and deflect and all that, they kind of have that whole system where it's like, okay, you know, your first roll failed, here's a secondary roll with its own unique thing, just to, you know, just to see what happened there. So, you know, that it has a chance for a save regardless. Now, it never tells you, but you do start to notice when you start stacking up luck and things like that, that it's like, okay, there's no way this guy nailed 16 parries in a row, you know, this is a little bit nuts, and that's kind of exactly what happens. Like, that particular scenario, actually, no, wait, it wasn't 16, it was 15 parries in a row, and then 3 dodges, with pretty decent percentages that the guy had done. Though, I will say, this was with completely maxed out ranks and everything, so they technically, in this case, had 8+4 for their parry. Let's see, it was one-hand katana, main gouge, phantom cloak, I think they had snipe bracers or something like that, and then the luck ring. So they had something to the effect of like 60-ish luck bonus, 12 parry, and just crazy high dodge. So they were pretty good at getting out of the way of most things. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. So you hate RNG as much as the next guy, but luck is what makes strategy games worth playing, even with the dodge parry 15 times around. See, that's what I was saying though. Like, there, to this day, even with folks going through and by the way, let me fix this chat box real quick. There we go. Let's fix that and pop that down here. There we go. So to this day, even with mods going on, even with or I guess a mod going on. Wait a minute, did I just ruin it? Oh no, I think I just... Did I? Slightly, hang on. And there we go, let's resize that real quick. There we go, perfect-ish. Now that needs to be a little bit smaller. Sorry, I ruined it. I know. I shouldn't have messed with the size. But point being, to this day, there's a lot of things that were really unclear. Like to my understanding, up until a few months ago, it was unclear what Leaden even did. And then it was found out that yeah, it's like a 40% drop in evasion. Like I think I need to double check this, but I think it didn't actually tell you that in vanilla. I think it just said that it ruins their movements in general, but it didn't mention anything about evasion. But anyway, they're still discovering stuff about this game, and luck is one of those kind of mysterious stats out there, because they're like, what the hell does it do? Because there's no direct number assigned with it anywhere. Like, if you, like, let's say you go to the portrait here, and then you go down, and, actually, wait a minute, I'm not seeing a circle. See, yeah, there we go. So, they've got a rating, I believe it's from 5 to 15, or from 1 to 15, I think. Like, I think I've seen up to 15 stars. Why it's like that, I don't know. Point being that it's just the same old thing of, let's see. Thought Leaden made it so you couldn't jump? Yes, and that's basically what it was saying in terms of screwing up movement. But it also has a secondary effect that it ruins evasion, which is why the AI values it so highly in the base game. Or rather, in both versions, I guess. But yeah, the AI really, really loves to use Leaden, and apparently modders were looking at it and they're like, why the hell do they love Leaden so much? It's not that good for its whole movement thing. And the evasion thing wasn't exactly that obvious in the base game, because, you know, because of the usual, there was so much stuff going on that you didn't see it that much. So, you know, it just, I guess it just 2 and 2 didn't quite click for a very long time there. But yeah, so it's roughly 40%, I think. I don't know if it's a hard number, but it always seems about 40% in terms of ruining evasion. Which, I mean, it makes sense. Especially with the way that it's presented in the game and stuff like that. It makes sense. And where it's used, it makes sense. It's just, like, it always seemed bizarre to me. But, like, weighted shot, for example, the first bow finisher. It's like, why are we, you know, ruining their jump ability with this? Like, why is this here? Okay, this is gonna be the order of 7. There we go. But yeah, so that apparently they just figured out that evasion, or that evasion thing. Yeah, I said it right the first time. A few months ago, give or take. So that's always nice. So I'm hoping maybe we can figure out some something or other from doing this luck run. I don't actually know why I hired these first characters, because I don't really plan to use them, but whatever. Alright, you know what? Actually, let's get rid of you. Because I just need archers for now. Yes, yes, I know. Everybody's all sad and everything. Alright. First off, yeah, you are an excellent archer. Hang on one sec. Alright, still a little bit of a residual cough. Sorry about that. Alright. Now, let's see what kind of stuff we're dealing with. First off, we're gonna want some archers. Yeah, definitely you. Huh, alright. 2 dex ones right away. Alright, that should be enough there. Let's buy a few bows. We'll buy a few rings, and then we'll go from there. A little bit short on money, how dare you. Alright. Then we're going to need some hardened bracers. So we'll sell some stuff in a moment. And yeah, the kind of secondary effect of this run is I was just hoping to show off some tricks you can do with archers. Just to show that they're not all bad, dang it. We've got a bunch of cool stuff to them. So the first chapter is going to be pretty much like you'd expect out of a vanilla run, quite frankly. It's kind of same old of you just overpower your archers, so you you can just kind of blaze through it. It's not necessarily like you need to, and they're just kind of barely able to do it. There we go. Yeah, they're just barely able to go by, because their damage does drop off pretty quickly, especially once the first tier of heavy armor becomes available. Basically up until Baldur becomes a standard, you can kind of rely on them for like upfront damage. After that, they start dropping off pretty sharply. So we'll get to that as we get to it. Alright, getting a little bit of lag for some bizarre reason. I think my computer's trying to update something in the background. I've actually restarted it twice before even starting this, and was still getting a little bit of jank every now and then. Couldn't tell you why, but such is life. Alright, we got enough gloves to go around? We sure do. We don't get any for denim, but that's perfectly fine. There we go. Now we just need to give them all their bow skill. It's actually funny, because trying to run a bunch of archers in the Japanese version became pretty funny, so you just look for the little squiggly symbol. It's like, that looks kind of like an arrow flying around. Alright, and that'll be that. These guys can't afford trajectory just yet, but I will be picking it up on them. Alright. Let's pick up bows on you and your extra skill slot. I'm not sure why they decided to go out of the way to make sure that he alone ended up getting only one skill slot as opposed to everybody else, but somebody got paid to program that, so it's there. Alright. Alright, let's put Cashua here. In fact, you know what? We're probably gonna take out Cashua. Yeah, I think I'm gonna run Bison and let him get taken out. Everybody else is gonna hold back. We're just gonna wait for them to come to us. Reason being that this should guarantee us launching up past level 4. Ideally want to get to about 5 or so. Yeah, as you can see, short bows, not very good. Once we get to long bows, it'll be a bit of a different story. When I was running a recent run through here, it definitely seemed like the whole short bow build was a bit more viable than previously expected. As in these actually hold up pretty darn well, especially with the new formations and stuff like that. But it can work. The whole dagger and bow thing, it can work. It's questionable, I'd say. Like it's kind of like if you need a really quick, lightweight archer, really. It's kind of turning him into a skirmisher of sorts. Which arguably other classes could do better, but no, it worked. It seemed alright. Also, I find it funny how the one guy with a luck bonus right now is the only guy that actually missed his 80% shot. Awesome. So, as far as luck's concerned, like I was saying, there's a lot of kind of mystery to it, and yeah, it's kind of a question as to what exactly it does, because you'll notice that in general, even though they seem to almost get a secondary role on everything, their daily luck still plays a part. Although, I don't know to what degree it's overwritten by your luck bonus. Because I've seen, for example, I was testing with the highest bonus that I could get one time. And what I noticed was that I went in, and their day said that everything was going to be terrible. I think they had like a 2-star or something like that. And then they, once it was all done, it was completely maxed out. So, I don't know. Like, you can immediately tell the difference by looking at that luck stat, or kind of their daily fortune type situation on their portrait. But it was unclear whether it overwrote the other one. It was unclear what happened. Like I don't know if it's, I guess, like a puddle value where it's just you add to it and it goes up, or you know, maybe it still affects it somehow. It's really unclear. So hopefully we'll figure it out. Hopefully we'll at least figure out something. This run might just fail spectacularly. Who knows? After this this first thing, we should be doing pretty okay damage. By the time we get to the 2 night bosses, we should be doing about 40s to 50s. Just because their armor at that point does not hold up to this stuff at all. So, no worries right there. And I think Vice and Cashua might actually make it. I'm having them take the brunt of the damage here, and they just don't care. They're just charging right through. Anyhow. Back on topic, though. How have you been, Mr. Evan? You been having an okay time? Having a pretty decent day or whatever else? Or decent week, rather? Yeah, Sharpos are pretty quick. And almost double turn these guys. Alright, archers, come on. You can do it. You can do it. See, it's all good on this end, nothing to complain about. Always good. Well, I'm glad you've got nothing to complain about. I just screwed up that shot. Oh well. How's new work going? Unknown, but hopefully positive. It's at least more understandable than most of the random jobs I've tried. Because sales, I can mostly understand. Whenever someone tries to tell me to figure out how to use all these different kinds of analytics and whatever else, I'm like, sorry, I no brain for this. Like, I can figure out the good of something and try to make it sell. That's arguably what I'm best at, but because it sure as hell isn't making jokes. Alright. Let's see. But yeah, hopefully joining in that whole nothing to complain about crowd soon. Looking forward to that day. Definitely would be nice not to worry about stuff as much. Alright, how on earth are those two still standing? It's actually funny, on any direct fight kind of situation, like any other time that I've run this without the AI changes or anything, Vice and Cashua have just fallen down without a problem pretty regularly. And yet this time, they're going in, taking the brunt of everything. They're perfectly fine. See, love analytics except for when I play games. Try to smash my head against the wall and do that. Yep. Pretty much. Give that... Basically say the same thing to any time that here's somebody going through either the mod or vanilla. They're like, oh man, I want to go through and 100% all the items in the Palace of the Dead. Like, should we sign you up for, you know, medical help already, or do you want to wait on that? Because you're going to drive yourself nuts eventually. Ah, man, it's dry. Yeah, our weather, as per usual, can't seem to decide what it wants to do. Because yesterday it was snowing, today it's just raining, 2 days before that it was spring. You know, because like we're going through these phases of just like perfect flu weather. So there's just new diseases going around every week now because it just keeps getting cold and warming back up, and getting cold and warming back up. So some new version of it comes out pretty regularly. So fun. Personally gone through 3 iterations of that. Yeah! It's a good time right there. See, it was 80 here yesterday, now it's raining. Please, can we have some of the warm? We want the warm here. The cold does not go away. It's like it warms up slightly for one day. I think the highest we've gotten here was like 55, and it felt like the warmest day in ages. But yeah. Less than ideal. Man, I'm gonna laugh if Cashwa ends up just beating everybody here with a stick. How is this hard mode? It's not hard mode at all. There's just a priest beating everyone with their stick, and that's it. Yeah, I feel like the new formations are a little bit easier. I'm not sure what changed exactly. I think it's only because they don't have a broadsword in their starting lineup. Because they had one before, and I used to take like 50s out of people. So that's probably for the best, though. I mean, it is the tutorial fight after all. Asher's going to tank the whole first chapter. Maybe. I mean, I'm just going to intentionally send them both in so they don't eat experience, so... Whatever they do, they do. There we go. You're within range, Mr. Archerman. You're within range. Huh, I must have gotten a bunch of good dex questions coming into this. Because Denim usually is not the party damage leader. Huh. Actually, Exorcism, let me double check something real quick. Okay, yeah, no. It's a level 1. Don't have to worry about her getting... I was gonna say maybe if we need to let her get a level. In case she needed to, I don't know, do some exercising, but it turns out she has just fine, so... We're all good. Bye, Cashwa. Have fun being crazy later. Slash, also kind of now. It's kind of funny, you can kind of see her slowly becoming more and more deranged as the game goes on. Do you think they actually wrote her that way? Like, I don't know, do you think it was actually intentional, specifically for the remake? Like, for her to seem more and more deranged? It's like, I went through SNES last week, and I know it's been pointed out before, but, like, her reactions to stuff seem a lot less cold in the SNES version. Like, in the remake, like, the best example is the lands gets all vegetated cutscene. Because, like, in the original, she's like, oh god, what the hell happened? And she, like, runs out of the room crying. And then in the remake, she's there like, oh man, what kind of joke is this? And just walks out, like, what the hell? What kind of Terminator crap is that? So yeah. Anyway, now we got real weapons, so... Get some dang warbows in here. Warbows. Yep. Warbow, please. Thank you. Warbow. Now, Canopus, I'm actually going to turn into... I'm going to wait to get him another bow here. Because we're actually going to over-level here and specifically get a longbow. Actually, no, we won't get the early longbow anymore. Because, yeah, then again, if we get to 10, we can get an early boulder. You know what? We're going to do that. Screw it. Screw it. I want the early boulder. For reasons that probably don't make a whole lot of sense, but, yeah. Do I really, though? Nah, not really. I changed my mind. If you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about, whatever characters you hire will be automatically equipped for their level. Which means that if you overlevel a class, they will come in with stuff that you technically shouldn't be able to have yet. So in this case, it would be possible for well, anyone really, to run around with a boulder bow, one chapter early. But it really won't make too much of a difference, so we're just gonna leave it. So we're just gonna leave it at that. Yeah, was running vanilla recently. Got to experience the old amazingness that is the Chrysero fight. Because they decided that Exorcism needs 34, and they're never, ever, ever going to have that much. So they're always just running around healing, and it's like, you're the Exorcist, why are you not exercising ever? It's like, no, don't question me, though. Excuse me while I just sit here and just try to whack a skeleton with a stick. This is a good idea for me, for some reason. So, wow. That lag, though. Why are we lagging so bad? Let's, what is this? Oh, for crap's sake. Okay, hang on. My computer's trying to launch something in the background here. Let me see what it's doing. So I'm getting, like, spinning wheels and crap. It's like, hang on, I'm loading something. But I didn't tell you to do anything. Why are you doing things? Right. So we've got a million versions of slobs up. That's always fun. Trusted installer. Okay. Not sure why you're having an issue now, but if you say so. Alright. There we go. There you are. TI worker, get out of here. Found it. Killed it. Moving on. Yeah. Sorry. Old laptop. It has a whole bunch of old janky programs that just don't want to do stuff. Right. Exorcism was tons of fun in the SNES and PSX version. Didn't have to knock baddies out to use it. Yeah. And it was pretty cheap. And when you got Donnie over here, he was the Exorcist. Also, Donnie's gonna die because it's just what he does. Because you know it's a run. You gotta kill off Donalto so he isn't stealing your experience. That's how you do it. And we're gonna give Vice every particular reason to betray us. Still love that Sharpo build of his. Absolutely love it. Anyway, he's underleveled, but he's trying to steal our experience, so we want him gone. And as you can see, despite being 2 levels higher than him, we're still... like, he can still hold his own. I know I point this out every single time, but I just feel like it always needs to be pointed out. Like, he's almost out-sniping my entire team of archers here, so... he's good. He's pretty good. Slight level disadvantages and turning him into a friggin' pancake. But yeah, I think the original, like OG locked and all that kind of thing. So I gotta readjust my headset here. Got a haircut and now it's like, hey, I want to slide around everywhere. Anyway, what was I getting at here? But yeah, I feel like that one and March of the Black Queen were specifically balanced only for fun. Like, let's just make everything as crazy as we want here. It's fine, don't worry about it. And that's what they did, and it was great. So I think it was Webury Volcano. Can't remember. Yeah, Mount Webbury. Yeah, where I got Dawn an MVP due to Exorcisms. Why did they get rid of the MVP system in this? It's another thing. It was just a fun little system, you know. Wonder if Rakes can bring that back at some point. Apparently he's starting to learn all the super technical stuff now. Like the, well, granted, the entire mod's been ridiculously technical up to this point, but I mean, like, the actually editing programs and stuff like that kind of stuff. As in, like, the scary dark side of modding, where suddenly everything just turns into the Matrix, and suddenly no one else can understand how that magic is done. Which is already kind of the case right now. Whatever. Anyway, point being, it looks like he's learning other programs to maybe edit more stuff for eventual use or something. I don't know. That's awesome, is what I'm getting at. So I might see some more stuff there. Rakes has evolved, you get 0.93. Seems so. I mean, we're running 0.93 right now. We, yeah, because this is the one with all the updated formations for Chapter 1 and everything. But once we get to later, Oh man, that cheap Exorcism. As it should be! Ah. I was playing vanilla for hours last night. Like, right before going to sleep, just for the sake of, like... I don't know, anytime right before starting a run, it's like a thing of mine that I have this old save file that I've been going at for a very, very long time now. Just kind of trying to do the whole One-Eyed Night Slayer thing and all that. And yeah, I always go back to it, just to kind of remember all the stuff that got improved. And so specifically I was going through Palace of the Dead and all that kind of thing. Which I was kind of surprised to get a lucky Cursed Bow and Ring of the Dead drop, because this was just like a complete Iron Man run kind of situation. But yeah. The friggin' 34 Exorcism. Just every single fight. It's like, why? Why does it take so long? I mean, granted, the funny part is, I had a Necromancer on that team that I was training from before POTD. Like, that runs well into Coda, that's like 30 plus and all that. But it's fun, like, it's always funny that just using Necromancers, is, like, they're way better Exorcists than the actual Exorcists. But, oh well. Like, I mean, yeah, you can go get the scroll and all that kind of thing, but even just using the regular abilities, they take 1 turn to go and charge up. If you go and use a Cleric, it ends up taking you, like, 4. But why? Why do they suck? I mean, Kashra's Holy Water thing ends up charging faster than just getting Exorcism somehow. Not sure why, whether it's some weird jank, but she's always, like, 2 points underneath where she needs to be. Which gets a little bit annoying when that happens. So, Alright. So, let's get rid of these frontliners here. We're almost at the point of being able to start working on Moldova. Actually, we should be able to start right now. Should be able to make it. And just... yeah, there we go. Just. This may be kind of a weird note, but the only model that still kind of gives me a bit of an kind of thing is still the starting hammer. Like, I keep thinking that needs to be a mace or something. Which I know, it's out of models, there's really not much that can be done there. So it's just basically a rock on a stick, but... I don't know. Makes me think of those rock candy things, you know, like where it's like a little stick with a bunch of rock dealies on top of it. A little crystallized sugar and all that sort of business. And then they always seem like such a good idea when you were a kid, and then you start eating it, it's like, this is making me nauseous, actually, and then it gets stuck to the seat, and then you get yelled at. You know, that whole thing. I got a vitality card down there. I want somebody to get that, please. Alright. 3 more shots on Moldova, please. Oh! So, actually I was meaning to get onto this particular topic earlier. But in terms of, like, Rakes was learning other stuff and all that kind of thing, apparently the reality of changing everybody's experience and all that so that you can't get over-leveled early on, like, not specifically as a barring off over-leveling, but where, let's just say it adjusts everything better to accommodate for whatever classes you end up using. Like, right now, if you use a bunch of units of the same class, it'll just keep adding based off that class, and then kind of scale how much they get. Oh, I forgot to kill off Kashra. Dang it. Alright, whatever. 7's fine, as long as we hit 7. Anyway, point being, he was apparently working on fixing the scaling and all that kind of thing at some point I don't know if that's soon or later, who knows what, but at some point, it'll be there. Alright. Welcome 3 new archers. Yes, I know, she's the only rogue we can get early on, but that doesn't work for this run. I apologize, Rakes. I know, she's awesome. Just doesn't work for this run. Right. By the way, sounds all good, yeah? I forgot to actually check that earlier. Alright, we didn't need that many, but it'll work all the same. Then, you know, naturally we have to get Felicia because she's just the luckiest. That is her whole deal here. Sound is fine. Well, I greatly appreciate that information. Thank you there, Adam. Alright. Also, we can get gloves for everybody now, so let's go sell all this stuff because we're never going to use it. Let's go over here, sell all this stuff because we're less likely to use it. Let's go over to... 10 of them suckers, please, good sir. Thank you. See, armor-wise, we're gonna need some wall rings. Oh, I just realized. I was saying earlier how Denim was doing more damage. That's pretty obvious now. It's because Canopus has a defender ring. That's what it was. Yeah, we should be alright with that. Alright, luck bonuses for everybody. So yeah, that's the first luck bonus you can get on anything other than a katana. I will be using two-handers and all that kind of thing later. Actually, I'll be using all katana versions later. The only reason I'm not using them yet is just because it's going to be a little bit faster to get through Chapter 1 doing it this way. So we'll get to that when we get to it. Get that one equipment set that's slightly out of place. Alright. So we don't need to do Quadriga. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot. Oh, no, wait. He hasn't updated it yet. There's going to be a updated dialogue in version 0.93. Let's do this. There we go. Yeah, so once 93 official comes out, he's already updating the stuff that Leonard says to tell you, hey, don't get yourself killed by zombies. And so ideally, somebody would go ahead and look at that and think, I will go ahead and not get myself killed by zombies. And so that'll be a good time for them. Turns out not being food, one of those things that typically will kind of improve your overall week. Oh yes, there we go. See, we're more than double their level right now. So this early on, this is just going to be a complete cakewalk. This is the kind of thing that's going to be fixed at some point. It's like one of the few temporary but kind of major exploits that's left. Just because, like, for example, that whole Knight and Berserker thing, it actually got tamed out a little bit in this version. Just because, obviously, that was pretty friggin' OP. But it mostly was due to the fact that Western two-handers were getting a much higher bonus. So they're like 5 to 10% weaker now. It's still ridiculously strong if you do it that way, but, you know. Let's see, always finish Smash Quadriga early, just prove them better than that are. Yep, we probably even could with this team. We're actually matched up with Nibbit's team right now, because they come in at level 7. He was actually considering lowering that back down to level 6, just to make sure that they aren't coming in with longbows. Well, specifically longbows, and then also tier 2 missiles. So, I mean, it's still doable. Like, I was doing it earlier with a basic team with 4s. seemed even basic equipment seemed doable. But then again, you know, that was more just showing that it could be done. In most cases, if somebody's playing through the first time, because it seems like he's trying to make it more approachable for newer folks and everything. So yeah, if somebody's going through it on their first time, it would be nice for the intro to be a little bit easier for them. Let's kind of ease everybody into the mechanics. I mean, so far, the way that he's laid out the guest characters and your new hires and stuff like that, it's been nice. It's been nice to see that they're getting these different kinds of skills and stuff like that. So you get to see more of the mechanics early. You don't need to experiment as much. Speaking of, I actually need to go check on the community run. I wonder what's going on with that. I forget who was doing it last. I know they had run into a bunch of unfortunate technical issues. Wonder if they were able to get their next chapter out. Because we're really close to the end of that run, and it just feels like everybody keeps running into issues. Not so much with the game itself, but just life. So it happens. It happens. Just kind of wanna go ahead and get that run wrapped up already. We've been at it for like 4 months, and it seems like every single time we get delayed on the most random things. Oh, slightly off. Should have expected that to be slightly off, but oh well. Alright. Let's go ahead and get this guy punched. Darn. I was hoping he'd get poisoned. That's fine. So we'll go ahead and take out pretty much everybody there. So I think there are only 3 or 4 of us left, and that was late edition. Yeah, there were a lot of people that backed out for one reason or another. And I think part of the issue might have just been that our team got so huge there. That we're running around like 30 units at the very end of the game. A lot of whom ended up getting really mixed training because everybody was doing all kinds of different stuff. But, you know, we'll just hopefully finish that up soon. The last time that I had a turn, I went ahead and tried to get more money. Because we needed to get the entire team refitted. Because I figured the best way is just we needed to get a bunch of supplies and then just, like, headbutt through the Hanging Gardens and call it done. Because, like, the team's good enough to make it through that. I mean, hell, you can do it on level 1s. Actually, I wanted to do a no-skill run probably after this. We'll see on exact timing, but I kind of want to do a no-skill run just to show that it can be done. Dro's community runs makes things very interesting. Yeah. It's weird because I expected people to experiment more. Like, was expecting folks to like look at the team and think, okay, you know, like, you know, here's all these options, here's all the stuff I can do, and it seems like 90% of the time there hasn't been a whole lot of like adjusting anything, and I think people are actually worried about messing with things. I mean, I kept writing messages almost every time after a while, like, you know, just feel free to mess with stuff. You know, experimentation's kind of the name of the game. And like what we got was, I think, like one extra character for each person that was in it, and then just like a lot of people looking at it, blazing through a couple fights, and then just passing it on to the next one. And then like came around to like every time I would see the file come around, everybody's got like 800 points and hasn't updated in like 3 tiers of equipment, and folks are having issues. It's like, so I don't know. I don't know. What do we do about that? Alright, let's go ahead and let you take the Berserk. Berserked. He finally uses a sword! Everything is as it should be. I mean, granted, that, like, all that being said, I can only imagine how much of a clusterfuck it would be if we went in on vanilla. Like, we get to the very end, everybody's got, like, rank 1 and cudgels as all their different stuff. Actually, I tried to make a Cudgel Dragoon happen, which she actually turned out surprisingly okay. See, first thing I did was buy new stuff and sell old stuff. Yeah, there's plenty of that. Like, get to Hanging Gardens in vanilla or something like that. Get like 3 new hires that came in Chapter 4. They only got like an axe skill, but they're wielding a fist. That'd be something. It'd be something. Oh man, this guy going all Highlander over here. We got all these luck bonuses, but all these luck bonuses keep causing us to miss. Actually, we only have like a 15 luck bonus, which is funny because it's more than the actual Ring of Fortune in the original. But whatever. Alright. Moving on, moving on. Alright, cool. Got a bunch of cool dealies. I forgot to kill off Kashua. Whoops. Sorry, Kashua, that you didn't dead. What am I doing? There we go. But yeah, so hopefully this trend that started with Chapter 1 here will continue. Like, where just everybody has all of these different things just already on them to kind of give people a bit of an idea of, like, you know, here's all the different stuff you can experiment with, kind of stuff. Alright, let's put these two aside, put this one in. Over here, put Canopus here, and there we go. And we're good to go! Yeah, I noticed the recordings last time were a little bit janky. Oh, crap. Well, that's fine. She's been a lot better at surviving. She's been a lot better at surviving. Let's hope the run doesn't die right here. Right. That's fine. Yeah, it's funny how even at level 3, Vice will still remain pretty competitive. Yes, you do that no damage. Man, that Defender Ring, though. That Defender Ring making all the difference. Alright, can you make the shot? Probably? Alright, I'm gonna have everyone take quick shots, deal with this guy. Move forward, deal with the dragon. Just kind of fire her and then move later, kind of thing. Alright, she's gonna take a big old chunk out of the dragon. Good. And she's coming towards us, so we should be fine. Dodging ice spikes. Alright, phone. Let's see what's going on with that community run. I want to know. Alright, I'm gonna throw a safety heal onto her. Just because I hit the wrong dialogue option. Should be fine. Should be just fine. Love this. So, in case you happen to have missed it from before, there's a kind of a funny movement quirk from Vanilla in this particular fight. Namely, that if you decided to turn Canopus into an archer, which was kind of the logical way to go, he would end up taking 3 turns to move over those rooftops instead of just the potentially 1 or 2, depending on how stuff goes here. Depending on which tile you remember to put him on. In this one, which is a lot more convenient. Just random note I thought I'd bring up. Oh, there we go. Community run. Oh! Dang it. Yeah, apparently there was no progress on the community run since last time. think we're gonna have to finish that thing up, Evan. Gotta push it towards the end. Because I'm pretty sure folks are anxious to move on to other things by this point. I don't get it. How is there too much and too little experimentation at the same time? Oh well. Such is gonna be life, I suppose. Alright, there we go. Then again, it could be, could be worse. Like, just kind of on a random thought, that vanilla is balanced in a lot of ways like MGS Peace Walker was. It kind of makes me wonder what an MGS Peace Walker community run would look like. You just, like, get a bunch of people to get all the really easy, like, just, like, capture or ghost missions or whatever else, and then you get the one guy that's coming in, like, a month into the run, and it's like, oh yeah, you get all the banana missions. It's like, go hold up this entire map with a frickin' banana, and, the guy is just admitted to an asylum a week later. Like, no, I don't even know the controls, why do I gotta beat the game with a banana now? No, seriously, that crap sucked. Like, the banana missions were easily the lowest point of the game for me. I don't know if you've ever played it, Evan, but man. The friggin' banana missions. Because yeah, for anyone that's looking at this later, wondering what the hell I'm talking about, it's like, you basically had an option at any point after you research the banana, which, like, you basically are always researching stuff in the background, they're like, we found out you can hold somebody up without even bringing a weapon along, you just need a banana. And so, that's exactly what you do. So you have, I think, like, oh, I never played any MGS game? Dude, Peace Walker's so good. It's weird because it's, like, it's not even kind of structured like the rest of the games. It's clearly meant to be, like, the mobile spin-off, but man, that one is easily my favorite. Like, the long and short of it is, you do a bunch of really awkward sneaking, doing a bunch of stuff that probably would never work in real life. And then, yeah, usually you end up going back and doing, like, a new game plus that's absolutely bizarre. Almost always including stuff like looking for ghosts, or, you know, just, like, going through under bizarre rule sets. Like, surprisingly, even the Game Boy Color one had a surprisingly robust New Game Plus. Like, where you go through the entirety of multiple bases that take place in that game. It's like looking for ghosts, or going under hard mode, or whatever else. Like, man, that game, like, for a frickin' Game Boy Color game, oh my god. It was more, like, fully featured than many of the console ones. Like, it's legitimately mind-blowing how good the Game Boy Color one is. Which the GBC one was kind of like... It hit many of the same notes as the PS1 game, with a lot less conspiracy and a lot more backtracking, I would say. And also, every single boss died to grenades exclusively, which was kind of a weird thing. It's like, you could beat them with other things, but there was no reason to not just use grenades on everything. Anyhow, that's neither here nor there. The point is, with Peace Walker, it was interestingly a crossover with Monster Hunter that caused that game to happen. So functionally speaking, you get all the usual, like, weird side missions and creeping around and stuff that you get from the Metal Gear side of things. Not to mention in just, like, absurd amount of weapons and everything. So you basically get complete control over your loadouts. It's usually you pick 1 to 3 guns that you can bring along depending on whatever armor you were wearing. And then, like, if you went in with a tuxedo, I think you can only have a pistol, but then if you go in with, like, the full tank armor, you can carry, like, 3 LMGs with you. But point being, it's, throughout the entire thing, you're, like, you have this base of yours, and you're building up this base, you're building up a roster. At any point, you can use the characters in your roster, as your main character. So I deliberately picked the worst character that I had in that roster, just like F ranks on everything, and was just using her as my main character throughout the entire thing. I was like, I need to beat this with the absolute worst character I can. And it was fun. It was fun. But yeah. Point being, though, the reason that I was saying the Monster Hunter thing is because they used the same formula. Namely, there's just a list of missions like, oh yeah, you know, you need to go and, like, blow up a barricade, or you need to go capture this, or rescue this guy, or go find some ghosts, or, you know, capture 10 people using only a banana or something. And, like, and basically that was it. Like, all the maps were laid out just like they would be in a Monster Hunter game. There were even Monster Hunter bosses at the very end. You could blow parts up with rocket launchers and things like that. To get things like a tornado musket. It was literally just like an old arquebus that fired hurricanes at people. It was great. Man, that game's good. Or, you know, I think it was called like the Team Catapult or something. I never got to use it personally. But it's just like, if you have 3 people playing online, you have 2 people holding either arm of the catapult, and then just like a third one just walking backwards and launching themselves like a cannon. Or like just something you would launch, whatever. Let's see, tornado musket? Yeah, it literally is just like somebody gets shot by and the tornado sucks them into the air. And then they're instantly captured. But yeah, it's surprisingly robust. I mean, I think I played that game for like 2 years before actually 100%ing it. I think that FFT A2 and Armored Core 2 and 3 are probably the 3 games that actually, like, 100%ed without even thinking about it. Because yeah, it was just that good. Like, where you just, even after you beat it, you're just like, I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more. Like, it sure had its frustrating moments, but it was like, yes, this is so good, you know? And so much cool stuff in there. Like, even after you end up beating it all, you actually had a whole bunch of really, really awkward side missions on it too. Like the fact that for some reason, like, they decided to add in like two dating missions. No idea why. It was literally just there for the sake of, for lack of a better term, like, the very Japanese flavor of weirdness. Like, where they're basically taking somebody that's clearly underage and then also taking his second-in-command out on what is essentially a stroll on the beach, where they decide to hang out together in a cardboard box. Yeah. It's, oof. I prefer to forget that those parts exist. So have you had to play FFT A2? Hear really mixed reviews on it, like polarized mixed? Yeah, see, here's the thing. It depends entirely on what you like, I guess. And yes, I know that's the most non-committal answer ever. But point being, like, personally, I loved it because it's taking, like, the FFT formula, boiling it down to something that's a lot more, I guess, gameplay orientated to actually to play through. So, for example, in FFT, you're going through, you're fighting, fighting within these different maps and whatever else. You get your skills based off whatever actions you took during the game itself, right? So every action you take, you get a few skill points, and then later on you spend them so you can abuse the hell out of that. The way that the formula works in that one, and I wish I could stream it, but when I tried, the lag was so intense that it wouldn't work. DS emulation is really just still in its baby days right now for some reason. It's really, really, really janky. Anyway, so what I'm getting at here. So you get, basically, instead of going to a menu and learning your skills, your character goes, like, you go through your different menus, and with all your different fights, there's like treasure chests and monsters and everything else that will drop different craftable items. And bear in mind that this isn't going to get to a frustrating point. It's handled way better than it was in Vanilla Lucht, I would say. So, like, you go to a treasure chest, you get like a little piece of cotton. You go over to this other thing, you get a piece of metal, whatever else. Then you take them to a store. It's like, okay, here's all your different items. Here's a menu of all the different kinds of stuff I can give you. And so it's like, okay, there's a bunch of accessories here, there's a bunch of weapons here, there's like grapos over here, and it just gives you a little dot that says, okay, you can have like a grapo, you can have a sword, you can have a wand, you can have some gloves. And so you give them those items, they add one of those to the shop, and you buy it. And so each one of those items, all of them will give you stats like equipment normally would, but many of them if equipped on the right class, will give you the option of learning a skill, and then they start learning it as they go on through different fights. And so this basically means just over time, they get immediate access to that thing, and then if they use it enough, they will eventually just learn it for good. So it's this interesting thing where you're getting new equipment not for the sake of getting better stats, but you want to see what kind of new skills are available on this semi-randomized equipment, which it leads to a very interesting kind of randomness to the game, because sometimes you may choose to use specific classes or whatever else not based off of anything other than the fact that you have some skills available for them. So you might automatically use stuff you otherwise wouldn't have. And all the missions are pretty lighthearted. You're usually just going out and doing random gigs for people. Like, probably one of my favorite ones is just there's an idiotic reporter going around, and he's like trying to interview people in the middle of like a war or something like that. And so you're just going around trying to keep him safe throughout the entire thing. Or, you know, maybe you're just trying to get to a well, or maybe you're just trying to look at a bunch of random piles of stuff on the ground or something. But yeah. Yeah, no, stream friendly, or, yeah, stream stuff for DS stuff is very, very janky to set up. It's very laggy because, I guess I don't know. Something resource-wise just goes completely wrong. It's like, honestly, even XCOM 2 was less laggy than trying to run a friggin' DS emulator. Couldn't tell you why, but oh well. Point being, it just didn't work too well. So, going on here. So yeah, it leads to a thing where you're using different skills. You have a very, very, very wide variety of missions. The plot lines usually aren't too serious. They're pretty lighthearted. Like, it's... Let's see, sounds comparable to FFTA. It's lighthearted equipment. Yeah, and unlike FFTA, like with law system, it does have a law system. But the way that it works is it says, like, okay, here's one rule to follow. If you follow that rule, you get a bonus. Basically, if you break the law, you can no longer revive characters and you lose your bonus. But other than that, you're not getting anyone sent to jail or getting their equipment confiscated or any of that. Wait, why am I trying to save exactly? It's a no save run. What are you doing? Alright, anyway. Just point being, it's really, 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 really fun. And I like it a lot. But yeah, so you get rules that are usually there for the sake of making it more interesting more than anything else. So, like, you know, say there's a bunch of bunnies or whatever, and you're supposed to not use fire because the guy is basically saying, hey, could you please not use fire? Like, you technically can use it. It's not going to stop you. He's just going to be a little bit upset about that, and you're going to lose your bonus. So, you know, like, to give you an idea, the bunnies are fluffy, so they're weak to fire. But that's not to say that the game doesn't have its serious moments. It definitely does, like, more, like, it's honestly darker at times than you would expect. But it's just, it's such a very well-rounded thing. And surprisingly, the difficulty goes up and down a lot. It's actually a lot more difficult than you may expect from such a cartoony-looking game. But yeah, it's... And yeah, there's definitely a lot of busted combinations that you can get by the end game. But actually getting the equipment to be able to get those busted combinations means that they're able to balance stuff out a lot better. And then, if it's still too easy for you, there's always the FFTA A2 rebalance mod, which is pretty dang good. Overall, it keeps a lot of the same challenge that was already there. It just does a few things a little bit differently. Sorry. Suddenly Smoothie decided to act all weird. This breakfast smoothie earlier. What was I getting at here? Okay, right, so FFTA A2 rebalance. I was actually covering that last year. But yeah, it adds a few different things. Like, for example, you just can never revive in that one. You just get regen from Phoenix Down instead. So it's nice if you want to go back and have a hard mode or whatever else. There's a very big emphasis on shipping people out to do side missions for you. So, like, you have side gigs all the time, so you would usually send out, like, 2 or 3 teams. All of your characters throughout all of your group are getting their weapon experience during all this time. So they're just kind of learning it over time, rather than being locked to, you know, only learning it within fights or whatever else. So, you know, you just basically have this entire group that's constantly growing. It feels very organic, feels very good. And honestly, it's one of those ones that's like you can try to metagame it, but there's really not a whole lot of point. Like whether you metagame it, whether you don't, you're still gonna have a good time with that game. It's pretty great. And hello there, Mr. Brocow. Good morning. Nice to see you. I'm gonna send my 2 sacrifices up there. Dang good coffee. Also, I can't wait till I'm actually done with this particular coffee because I want to get to this other brand that we have. I've been having this cheap Folgers brand for a very long time. And then there was another one that was allegedly better that was, I think like Maxwell House or something that they had on sale for even cheaper. And the funny part is, I immediately found out why that stuff was cheaper. Because it turns out, whoever designed the grip must have been a gecko or something. Because it's funny, it's this entire giant coffee thing. Hell, you know what, I might as well just... it would be kind of a pain to go get it. Point being, the entire thing just, is designed to slip out of your hand if you try to grip it by the grips. I don't know who made it. Like I said, they must have been a gecko or something. It's the only logical explanation I can think of. Because, man, that thing is bad. Also, hey, the only time they've ever cured poison, at a time when they actually need to cure poison. How about that? Good job, Prana Berserker. You did good. You did a good job. Alright. Oh, by the way, so, now that Mr. Perkow's here, I was mentioning that scheduling thing earlier. So, because of the new work stuff and everything else, more than likely I will be, a bit more scarce as far as these things go. So, what I'm thinking, ideally, is either, as far as Tactics Ogre stuff, either 1 or 2 of the daily ones on Monday and Friday, and then on Wednesday, probably 1 Armored Core thing, and or other thing. Let's just say Armored Core and or something Cow requests, and then on Saturday, X Division until that's finished, and then hopefully moving that on to the next version. That way I can probably start wrapping up some of those ones. You okay there, pup? Come here. Alright, whatever, you do your thing. Puppy's just running in circles over there. Getting all comfortable. But yeah, we'll see if that works out. Because I'm expecting to have a much, much busier schedule soon here. That's why I'm saying 1 or 2. It kind of depends entirely on how everybody's doing here. Yeah, alright. Hello there, Mr. Setabo. Nice to see ya. And yeah, after this, I'm gonna go do a little bit of a pause here, just to do the standard diver check and all that, because we had a pretty early morning. Actually, it's been suspiciously quiet, so need to make sure everything's all good and all that kind of thing. All that kind of thing. Oh, not just lurking. He's lurk-a-durkin'. Gotcha. Speaking of that kind of mannerisms, I'm a little bit surprised, given how much stuff keeps coming up in the news and all that kind of thing. How a certain speech from Team America hasn't become really popular lately. You know, the drunk guy speech? Like, kind of towards the end of the movie? Don't exactly want to say, because it's a hell of a lot of profanities in a very short amount of time, but, good lord, that feels fitting right about now. At least in the States. But yeah. That's its own thing. I think we can probably just start laying in on Greyon here. So yeah, Greyon is our first super tanky knight. We've got barely any level advantage over him whatsoever. And unfortunately, this time he came in with a full armor set. He can spawn in with light armor. So he came in with the full, heavy kite. Came in with the, ouch. Yeah, even the cudgel's not getting through. But I wanted her not taking any experience, so whatever. I'm just going to turn him around using this. So, there we go. Interesting. Interesting. So apparently, it takes a little while for that card to reappear. Huh. Alright, whatever. But yeah, so at this point we should have enough overall firepower to just punch through his armor eventually. This is surprisingly not as inaccurate as you may think. So I think I mentioned this before, but there was a test. They're like, yeah, single arrow, pretty much no chance of actually getting through armor or whatever else, but man, if somebody took like friggin' 20 or 30 of the needlepoint bodkins or whatever else, that's probably gonna break their armor more than go through it. So, it may not go through directly, but it'll punch enough holes that something will get through. So there we go. It's not so inaccurate after all. Ah, driving cut. It makes so much more sense than Mr. Ledge. So, quick question. Has anybody here ever found an actual practical use for Mr. Ledge in vanilla? Like, presumably early game... Like, I'm assuming most folks just dropped axes entirely. But I'm curious if anyone actually found a use for Mr. Ledge. Because 9 times out of 10, just hitting the caster is a bit more useful than trying to silence them with a friggin' axe. So let me know, either now or later. Alright. And goodbye, Mr. Rion. You probably look like a dang pincushion right now. There we go. They needed more, and they also probably needed more plates to deal with all those arrows. Because, man, that took quite a beating. My somewhat popular demand, Boko's now writable. He wasn't writable? What? How was he not writable before? No wonder that's popular demand. Gotta ride that chicken. Yeah, definite yay on that one. So hang on, let me step away for just a moment here. Be right back. Only give me like 5 minutes. Maybe less. Special monsters are unwritable even if they are chocolates. That's weird. I could have sworn I used them in vanilla. Oh, wait. Right. That's because he wasn't... Okay, gotcha. He wasn't the special kind before. Understood. Alright, well, anyway. Hang on. Be right back. Hello. Okay. Let's continue this on here. There we are. So use the most powerful axe finishers when needed, or snoop if the situation calls for it. Gotcha. You know, I don't know, I've had maybe one run where I had a guy with axes that actually stuck out, which was weirdly enough the generic axe warrior guy that I started with. Somehow he rolled really high strength. But yeah, I think he started out with like 38 or something, which I don't remember how exactly that was even possible, but it was a couple runs ago. And yeah, even then I was like, not really seeing where Mr. Ledge would be actually useful. It's like I legitimately couldn't think of any time when casters were enough of a threat that just taking them out wasn't the immediate priority. But like, it usually was just easier to take out a caster than it was to shut them down. But I was just wondering if anybody had different mileage on that. Because then usually the ones that you'd think would be, you know, the ones you'd actually want to shut down, like some of the really strong bosses or some of the caster monsters or something like that, and they've got like, it's basically full immunity from a lot of debuffs. Or they've got like rank 4 resist sleep or resist silence or whatever else. Like, you know what? This thing already has like a friggin' 30% chance to work. I don't really know what's expected here. But anywho. So this time, since the griffins are still going to be really evasive, we're actually just going to try to take out everybody as they get close. You know, kind of as you do with bows. Yeah, that was worth a shot. Sometimes those want to hit, sometimes they don't. I know I probably should have picked up Projector on everybody, planning to. Actually, a lot of these guys are going to become different classes once they become available. We'll get to that when we get to it. Alright. By the way, on a side note, I originally used to laugh at the idea, but these Fitbit things are amazing. So I had gotten one for my birthday. Apparently she found a really good deal on one. It's like, it's way more useful than I ever would have figured in terms of how many things it actually does. Like, I thought it was just like a little health tracker kind of thing, which it does that. Like, it's funny because one of the first things I tried to install for it was they had a UI for it that looked just like the one from RE7, complete with like little health ticker, heart meter thing, whatever. But unfortunately, that one actually cost money, so it's like, fine, I guess we won't. But anyway, yeah, it's actually a very handy little device. So you can set alarms with it. You can have it give you reminders about stuff. You can just kind of keep track of random things, keep track of emails and texts and whatever else without pulling out your phone. There's technically also the option to blare your playlist, although I've never actually activated that because I'm pretty sure at no point will it not be considered weird to start like blaring some Sabaton or something and, you know, next to the kids. So like, why do you got all this angry music? And like, it's actually historical though. You're trying to be all historical and everything. Like, but it sounds like angry music. Actually, my kids kind of like metal. I play it in the car every now and then, and they just fall right asleep to it. It's pretty great. Braxton, hey, bud. Can you chill? Thank you. How you doing, bud? Being a good doge? Good boy. It's like one of those times when I actually kind of wish that he knew the whole thing of like climbing up on top of people. Then I could be like, hey, here's the dog. But, you know, don't want him to learn to do that. Alright, how are we doing this exactly? Because Gamp is just going to keep resisting stuff. I probably want to clear up this side. Get these lizards gone. See, the thing with the leaders is, if you're going for a bow rush strategy, they're still going to have their proper defense no matter what. So he's going to be very resistant to this thing. Meanwhile, the Griffins got really high evasion as of the last patch. These ones in particular are really evasive. In general, monster units are more evasive. So even on like a clear day like this, where we've got almost no chance of hitting them, which is good because then suddenly taking out the Griffins isn't like the go-to speed strategy anymore, which I like. I always kind of felt bad about that. So it was always like, as soon as you got here, just like, take out the griffins. Like, but I don't want to. They're being good boys over there. They're being so good. Look at them. Oh, I know. Little puppies over here like, what? I heard good boy. Look at me. I can run in circles. I'm a good boy. Come here, pup. Good boy. He's such a good boy. He's a bit of a doofus sometimes, but he's such a good boy. Alright, I can't even get the heal off that I want, so I'm just going to put it right there. Probably want to see about taking out the cleric with Canopus. Might sort out some problems. Actually, you know what? You should probably have a shot on her. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah, there we go. We got the crit, so Canopus might be able to just finish her then. And then we can just keep firing a Gamp until he stops breathing. For the moment, anyway. He'll breathe perfectly fine for the whole rest of the game, for the most part. Because we're never going to go out of our way to go get him. So he's just going to go retire to a nice foresty island and hang out in the swamp like Shrek. I should probably just call him Shrek from now on. Oh, I know, you're such a good puppy. I know. You're good, doggo. You're good, doggo. I love this dog. Yeah. We'll suck up over here. What you doing? There we go. Healer's gone. Let's see. Can he come up? Gonna see if I can get him to do it. No? Nah, he's trained too well. Let's see. Jerker, one of my other tests is about to finish almost. Same playthrough of the mod. His first playthrough, he got the final gauntlet and the save got messed up. Ah! That's gotta be frustrating. Hope he didn't do DD. Yeah, I think, come to think of it. I think for the Wednesday slot, maybe, I should do, like, one... Depending on how the schedule goes, like, one thing Armored Core, one thing Cerebro. Let's see, it was 3/4 of the DD through the first one. That's rough! Man. So how's he doing? Yeah, I keep meaning to go check out other people streaming all this stuff and showing off all this stuff. There's never time! And there's so much stuff I want to do and go see and everything else. Ripping through pretty decently. Well, that's good. Did he have any difficulty with the snake? This is when I find out everybody else cleared the snake on their very first try and never had any problems whatsoever. It's like, no, man, you just suck. Alright, let's see. Keep sniping the Gampy boy. Should be one more shot, I think. See, he had some challenge with the snake, but then Biblos used difference and did cumulatively. Ouch. Ouch! Oh man, somebody needs to mod that in. Like the awkward RE1 ouch sound from what's his face? I forget his name. The guy that gets bitten by the snake. It's like every time that the snake takes over 999 damage, he's just ouch. I love that sound. Actually, my favorite use of that sound. There's this guy that speedruns. Let's see. There's this guy that speedruns Resident Evil games, and like they have this awesome emote on there, or whatever you'd call it, where it's just like a combination of a bunch of different voice clips. He's like, "Oh, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this Jill sandwich." It's just like Barry catapulting a sandwich with like Jill's head on it against a wall, which does the ouch sound. It's a wall. It's so stupid, but it's hilarious. It just kills me every time that comes out. Anyway, let's go ahead and take out Kashua. I was going to take out Vice. I figure with a luck run, you know, if we're going to test our luck, we might as well go Law for this one. Why not? Alright, let's see. He didn't have a ridiculous counter magic Zodiac, though. True. That kind of nullified the fight a little bit. At least for a little bit. Oh, I'm so glad that was possible, though. I love that. I just love when stuff gets that ridiculous, you know? Like, specifically when it's hard to actually reenact. Like, I think that was my my issue with the vanilla version of this game a lot, because, like, you had some of those strategies, but then a lot of the times you could just really, really abuse them to no end. But, yeah, I just love when they're difficult to pull off. It's a good thing summons can't hit your own guys. Yeah, no, they would have been dead. They would have been super dead. The entire end fight of just him counter-zodiacking. It was fun. I really like the mod. Actually, it's funny, because I don't know if there's any newer versions, but I finally have it saved on my Vita now. Just to start planning out challenge runs and that kind of thing. Man, we're not going to be able to hit Jack here because of this rain. Dang it, rain! Why make it so hard to hit anything? Bye-bye. Let's see. We're on to the Hell Knight Malik fight, and Tiger with Ridges, and he counter magicked their firebomb spells multiple times, and they goes, ouch. Ouch! Come to think of it, is there counter fire? Like for ranged units, does counter work with... There's return fire, isn't there? Or is that FFTA? I forget if return fire's in FFT or not. Just random thought. Counter works with bows and guns? Okay, gotcha. True, right, because he was... right. So does Mito. Oh. You don't say. Hang on, so could somebody point blank counter shotgun somebody? Just like basically turn them into a close combat specialist from XCOM? No? Dang it. One of these days. One of these days. There will be one of these kinds of games that allows that to happen. Let's see, you have to respect minimum range. Lies. Minimum range doesn't respect you, why do you have to respect it? Right. Man, this guy over here is just taking all the hits. He doesn't even care. We actually might start having a problem here pretty soon, because we can't hit Jack. I'll have to start taking some of these side shots. Dang rain! Of course, after this, once we start getting into the mid-game proper, we can probably start getting actual luck bonuses and things. Gotta go back to work for lurking, invention, cloud of smoke. Well, alright. You have a good one there, Mr. Cerebro. You have a good time working. I'm gonna have to take another pause here in just a little moment, because it's almost time to start handing out some snacks. Just about that time, anyway. Let's see. Who works? Also need to add a point-blank shot for the gun, aka Darkest Dungeon. That exists in One Vision. It's one of the finishers. It's called Blunderbuss. That it's the only ranged damage scaling one, I believe. Which is a fire elemental point-blank just damage blast, basically. Because there was something that needed to replace the replace, what was it? I think it was Rapid Fire that previously was a Venom move, or something like that. Yes, I know, I literally friggin' wrote the guide and I can't remember. Actually, no, wait, I never finished the ranged finishers bit. Right, because there were updates going on at the time. Screw it. You know what? As soon as 93 is officially out, I'm gonna go update the ranged finishers. See, I haven't played with Fuse as much in OV, still poking around the end game content. They're pretty handy. Like, Fusiliers in general are really, really good now. Like, honestly, I always like comparing them to XCOM 2. Because honestly, the comparison's pretty close now. Like, my favorite way of using them is to sort of set up like a firing zone with them, where you have a team of 2, and then actually had this written out in the last version of the guide I haven't put out yet. But it's like you have them set up a line of like 2 barricades, because they can fire out 2 barricades at once now. Set up 2 barricades, a line in the middle, and then another 2 barricades, and then you team them up with a warlock. And so you have 2 of them with either rifles or pistol and shield, depending, you know, which build you prefer to go with at the time. And you just basically have them hide behind those barricades. You have the warlock buff them to give them sidestep and resilient. And so basically, the only thing that can hit them is, well, bows would be mostly negligible and/or just miss. Casters wouldn't be able to do very much against that because of resilient. And then you'd basically just have them hop out, take a shot, and go back, and if anybody gets close, you have the warlock there to just mind blast them backwards and slow them down until both of them can just focus fire on that particular unit. Usually 2 Fusiliers and a warlock will be enough to take out almost anything. If it's anything heavier, the warlock can usually just, you know, use some kind of longer-term debuff on them. Like, it ends up working out surprisingly well, and you just set this team up with 3 off on a flank somewhere, and just anytime they need to heal, you just get Gift of Renewal going, or you just hide everybody back a little bit. It's a team of 3 that makes a perfect holdout team. Not to mention, if there's any undead stuff, Eldorado takes care of them pretty well. They're a little bit on the slow side. They suck in terms of magic defense, but again, like a warlock covers their gaps really well. So it ends up working out. Man, I really needed to pick up Trajectory on everyone here. This is why you want Trajectory. Kind of think of it, I have it on 2 characters, and I still haven't used it. Because I'm apparently an idiot. But, oh well. Whatever, we'll deal with it. We'll get there eventually. Like, after this point is when they start becoming more of a support character. There we go, Trajectory. Give me that True Flight. There we go, look at that, finally being able to hit stuff. Yeah, True Flight is very, very strong now. One might argue too strong, but they'd be wrong. Because it basically just turns them into, like an improved version of Knight of Lotus Archers. I was thinking the other day, was watching a thing about Battle Brothers, and specifically I was also watching another one that was kind of attempting attempting to emulate a similar effect in XCOM 2. And just adding a bunch of different skills to different weapons. Now, arguably, that already exists with the passive effects on each of them, but I keep wondering what would happen if a lot of the super specialized skills, like the Mighty Strikes and stuff like that, got moved over to the weapons themselves as a use effect. Like, for example, if all two-handed axes had Mighty Strike, and then you had Double Strike on two-handers, or like, what's it? Or like Vigorous Attack on one-handers or something. Like, granted, it would kind of take away from regular, like the classes themselves having those skills, so it probably wouldn't be very balanced. Just kept wondering what that would feel like, you know? It'd be interesting. Because I'm really liking this thing with Trajectory right now. It's like, what would happen if Trajectory was on two-handed bows or something, and then you had, like, Eagle Eye on crossbows or something? that wouldn't work out too well, because then you'd basically have crossbows being flat out better in that regard. Dunno. Just random thoughts. Come on, luck bonus! He's got like a 40 luck bonus, I think. Hang on, wait. No, it's like 25, isn't it? Yeah, 10 and 15, so yeah, 25. See, I can count simple numbers. Who knew? But yeah, Fusils at this point, I would argue, are like the big turnaround kind of thing. Because they've got a list of very decisive finishers for the most part. Like, I would argue one of my favorite. It's like, if bows are all about their shutdown moves, like, those are usually all about just turning the fight around with one action. Like, for example, let's see. You've still got your RT reset, you've still got your, you've still got your silencing, so you can basically long-range silence a caster that's giving you issues. You've got your Bewitch, and then you've got your high damage move. So if you're at close range, you need something gone. You got Blunderbuss, you've got your friggin' satellite lasers if you want to Bewitch something. Just basically immediately get them on your turn. It's very, very handy. Alright. Now that we've had all that height advantage, and did very poorly in that circumstance, it's now time to go through and do the entire thing with a height disadvantage. I'm sure this will go absolutely great, and have no problems at all, and I probably should have killed off Ravenous to get that little bit of extra leveling help. But what I need is trajectory on everybody to get that consistent damage. Now, originally, I was going to say for the luck run, or originally for the Asia % run, it was going to be like law route for the sake of why not. So you know what? I'm just going to put that question out there. Which route do you guys want to do? For anyone that's still here, and I will be right back to go pass out some snacks. So just tell me which route you'd like to see, and be right back.